crashed mercilessly, splattering against the cobblestones as the heavens mourned above a forsaken city. The world wore a garb of gray and despair, mirroring my own desolation as I wandered through streets that echoed with the ghosts of forgotten dreams. Once, words flowed from my fingertips like a river. Now, nothing but a parched streambed of creativity lay barren in my mind. Desperation drove me forward, seeking refuge, seeking something, anything to quench this dry spell. And perhaps fate had a cruel sense of humor, for it was in this forsaken state that I stumbled upon it. The library that wasn't there yesterday. A foreboding structure, it stood defiant against the onslaught of rain, untouched by time and elements. The windows were murky, hiding its secrets from prying eyes. The doors, grand and antique, beckoned with an almost sentient call. I hesitated, but the tantalizing promise of shelter and unknown tales lurking within coerced my drenched and weary frame through the entrance. Inside, a hushed sanctum greeted me, where time seemed to stutter and falter. Each step forward felt like a descent into another realm, a place where reality frayed at the edges. The air was thick with the scent of old parchment and looming dread as shadows danced ominously in the flickering candlelight. It was a place that whispered secrets in your ears, a place that knew your deepest fears. Then, from the cloaking darkness, emerged a figure, the librarian, clad in robes that shimmered with the gloom of the ages. Their face remained hidden, yet their presence swarmed around me, oppressive and intimate.
Seeking solace in the tales of the damned, are we?
A voice that was both a whisper and a scream echoed around the room, curling around my spine in a cold caress. Caught in the snare of those words, my retort died in my throat. I could only nod, an agreement to a pact that seemed to vibrate with an undercurrent of danger. A thin, skeletal hand gestured towards the towering shelves, laden with books that seemed to pulse with a life of their own. My heart raced, pounding against my chest like a frantic, caged bird as I found myself drawn towards a tome that seemed to call out to me with a siren song. Cover was plain, yet it held an allure that seemed almost sinful. I could feel the weight of the librarian's gaze, an encouragement to open the Pandora's box of horrors that lay within the pages. With trembling hands, I opened the book, releasing whispers that clawed and writhed in the air. Words danced before my eyes, revealing tales of darkness, of humanity's twisted heart laid bare in ink and blood. Each sentence was a noose, tightening around my sanity, drawing me deeper into the abyss of knowledge no man should bear. And yet, I couldn't stop. The horrors unfolded, latching onto my soul, a parasite feeding on my fear and growing, ever growing. As the rain beat relentlessly against the library's stones, I realized too late the trap I had stumbled into. A place of knowledge and terror, intertwined in an unholy matrimony, seducing and consuming all who dared to venture into its depths. Fear rooted me to the spot, the book an unyielding anchor in a sea of darkness. The library had claimed another victim, pulling me into a dance of shadows and screams, where escape was but a tantalizing dream drifting farther and farther out of reach. I could feel the air thicken around me as I leafed through the ancient pages. Every line I read pulsated with a living, breathing horror that seemed to echo the deepest fears lodged within my soul. I stumbled upon narratives that were grotesquely intertwined with fragments of my own life, sketches of personal tragedies and hidden terrors woven into the fabric of a dark and twisted storyline. There was no going back now. The line between the ink-stained pages and the foreboding shelves of the library blurred, distorting reality in a way that made my stomach churn with a nauseating blend of dread and morbid curiosity. The echoes grew louder, resonating with whispers that clawed at my sanity, urging me to venture further into the darkness that the library morphed into. I could feel the eyes of the unseen entities searing through me, reading me as voraciously as I read the horrific secrets spewed across the pages. I paused, my heart threatening to explode in my chest. I could hear them now, not just in the faint whispers that curled around the shelves, but in the very fibers of my being, resounding with a deafening cacophony that drowned every rational thought. It felt as if the library had become a living entity, its pulsating veins intertwined with the rows of shelves that now resembled gnarled limbs of ancient trees shrouded in darkness. The librarian materialized once again, a shadow lurking in the obsidian gloom, their figure distorted and flickering, as if not entirely present in this shifting reality.
"Do you see, Robin?"
The figure murmured, their voice echoing through the now organic halls of the library. A siren song of despair luring me further into the abyss. I staggered forward, propelled by an inexplicable force that drained my willpower with each step. The narratives in the book intertwined with the ever-changing environment around me, unveiling monstrous entities that seemed to have clawed their way out of the dark corners of human fear and imagination. The air became a canvas for the unfathomable horrors that painted themselves into existence, each more terrifying and grotesque than the last. With every step, the boundary between the written word and the tangible world crumbled, giving way to a nightmarish landscape where time and logic lost their grip. My breath came in ragged gasps as I navigated through the labyrinthine corridors that twisted and contorted with a malevolent life of their own. I found myself in a grotesque carnival of despair, a dance macabre where ghastly figures twisted and writhed in a horrifying display of the human psyche's darkest corners. Faces I recognized, fragments of my past, twisted into grotesque caricatures, joined a horrifying parade, mocking and taunting with voices that echoed the darkness within the pages I had read. As the reality around me unraveled further, a paralyzing realization anchored itself into my mind. There was no escape from this hellish landscape that fed off my fears and insecurities. The library had become a personal purgatory, a realm where the darkest secrets of humanity danced with gleeful malice, eager to devour the sanity I desperately clung to. The darkness swallowed me whole, an all-consuming entity that reveled in the terrifying symphony it orchestrated within its grim confines. I was no longer a reader, but a helpless character in a macabre narrative, spiraling uncontrollably into the void where the whispers promised eternal torment and despair. It was a descent into madness, a plunge into the horrifying depths where the library's dark heart pulsed with malevolent delight, eager to claim another lost soul in its relentless pursuit of the damned. I felt the marrow in my bones freezing as the monstrous truth unveiled itself bit by bit. There was a crescendo in the symphony of whispers that seemed to orchestrate my frenzied heartbeat. The library, with its seemingly endless corridors of gnarled shelves, seemed to be closing in on me, transforming into a grotesque labyrinth from which there was no escape. With each step, the line between the ink-stained pages and this horrific reality frayed further, a thin thread struggling to hold against an encroaching darkness. The shadows in the corners of my eyes grew longer, more animated. The groans and whispers grew louder, morphing into cacophonic wails that clawed at the edges of my sanity. The librarian appeared before me again, a being woven from the darkness of the library itself, a guardian of the damned secrets housed within this place. His form fluctuated, sometimes a mere shadow, sometimes taking on a grotesquely human form, his features a swirling mass of ink and shadow.
Do you comprehend, Robin?
The voice seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere, an intrusive resonance in my mind that brought nauseating clarity.
This library, it is a repository of humanity's darkest facets, feeding and growing with each soul it ensnares.
Panic clawed at my throat as I stumbled backwards, but every direction I took led me further into a desolate abyss, further into the bowels of this living, breathing nightmare. I didn't ask for this. My voice echoed, pitiful and small, swallowed by the encroaching darkness. But there was no mercy to be found here, no respite from the relentless pursuit of the library's malevolent entities, each seeking to share the burden of their horrific tales, to drown me in an ocean of despair and darkness. I could feel myself unraveling, fragments of my being tearing away with each harrowing vision that assaulted my senses. Memories, fears, every fragment of darkness within me, they were being extracted, cataloged, and added to the grotesque collection housed within this cursed place. And then, in a fleeting moment of horrific clarity, I understood my fate. I was to become a permanent resident in this collection of damned souls, another lost entity roaming the twisted aisles of the library of the damned, unable to escape, unable to find peace. The ink from the pages reached out, tendrils wrapping around my limbs, pulling me in. I felt a scream building within me, but no sound escaped as the darkness swallowed me whole, leaving nothing but a hollow echo of what once was a man, a writer seeking inspiration in the darkness. As I felt my essence being absorbed into the vast and horrific narrative housed within these walls, a strange and twisted form of acceptance washed over me. This was it, the tragic end to my story. A tale added to the never-ending annals of horror contained within the library of the damned. My vision narrowed, the darkness enveloping me until there was nothing left, nothing but the whispering darkness and the ceaseless, mocking laughter of the librarian. And as the final remnants of my being were torn away, I realized I had become a part of the library's eternal darkness. Another secret, another story, waiting for the next hapless soul to stumble upon the cursed doors of the library to begin the cycle anew.